All right, kindergarten, today we are going to be doing a self-portrait. It's going to be our first project of the year, and you guys are going to be using some pencils, like this one, and some crayons, like that, and all of our well-behaved students will be using a Sharpie, like this, and some of our classes might even get to use some paint. So we'll have to see what we have time for. So when you're doing a self-portrait, you guys are probably going to be using some kind of mirror. Ooh, you can see my phone up there. Because self-portraits are a picture of yourself drawn by the artist. So if I'm drawing a picture of you, that's just a portrait. But if I'm drawing a picture of me, it's a self-portrait. And so when we're doing our self-portraits today, we're just going to focus on our face. And that's going to be the most important part. So we're going to draw that area really big. We're going to talk about the parts of the face and make sure you don't leave anything off, because you don't want to have a self-portrait with no eye or no nose or a missing ear. That would be just terrible. So we're going to be using a white piece of drawing paper, and you need to make sure that you turn it the right direction. We do not want to have it horizontal. We want to have it vertical. And in the art world, we call horizontal, we also call that landscape. And vertical, we also call that portrait. And that's an easy thing for you to remember because you're doing a self-portrait today. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a pencil, and we're going to draw a really big oval. Now, if you draw it so big that it takes up the whole paper, you're not going to have any space for your hair. So I'll show you how big I'm going to draw mine and how much space I leave, and then you guys can start drawing yours. So I'm going to draw a nice oval shape right in here. Okay, and with my pencil, I don't push very hard, because if I don't get the perfect oval the first time, it makes it much easier to erase it if I didn't press very hard. And so we have that saying, draw light till you get it right. Now right now I just have a floating oval, and you guys are more than just a floating head, you also have a neck. So we're going to come down here and draw two little lines for our neck, and you can even draw some shoulder lines too. And so there we have our shoulder lines and our neck, and everybody's probably wearing a cute little shirt today, so then you can just draw the line of your shirt collar. We'll have a little space for you to color in your shirt later. So this is the most important part, and I want you guys to really make sure that you leave some room out here for all your fancy hairdos. None of my lines are touching the edge of the paper, except for where my neck and shoulders come in. So this is the part where you're going to need to look at your mirror and check out your face. Take a good look. I want you to be really careful with those mirrors because they are breakable. And if you're swirling around, your teacher is going to take that mirror away. So be very careful with your mirrors. When we're drawing our face and you look at your mirror, you're going to notice that you have two eyes, nose, mouth, ears, hair. Some of you have freckles. You have a great smile, I'm sure. You have to decide if you want that smile to be closed mouth smile or an open mouth smile where you can show all your teeth. For me, I'm going to keep it really simple today. I'm going to do a closed mouth smile so I don't have to draw any teeth, because sometimes teeth are a little bit tricky. And we're all going to start out as little baldies because I'm going to save my hair for last. For me, I like to start with the nose. And when I look in the mirror, my nose has this shape right here. It's kind of like an L. Underneath my nose, that's where my mouth's gonna go, and I'm gonna have an eye here and here. I'm gonna start out with just a smile with no lips yet. And I'm gonna put one eye here, one eye over here. Now, if you look in your mirror, those eyes are pretty boring. You've got some parts that are missing. If you get really close, you should be able to see what color eye you have. That's a big circle, and for me, I have brown eyes. And they're pretty dark, but right in the middle I can see that we all have a little black circle. That's called your pupil. The big circle is your iris. Some of you have blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes, but we all have a circle inside that's black. So if you get really close, you should be able to see that. You can draw your eyelid. If you want to put some eyelashes, you can. Boys, you don't have to do that if you don't want to get fancy. Everybody has some eyebrows, so don't forget your eyebrows. Now right now, I've got a pretty cool looking face, but I wouldn't be able to hear you very well because I'm missing two important things. That's right, my ears are on the side of my head. And we'll just do a shape like that for ears. Now, if you want to get fancy with your mouth, this is where you can step it up. So when you look in your mirror, you have a top lip and a bottom lip. And I'm just going to do my top lip. Two lines like that. It kind of looks like a bird flying. My bottom lip is one line like that. And there you've got a pretty cool closed mouth smile. Now right now, if you're all caught up, we're all looking a little bald. So it's time to add some hair. You have to make sure that some of your hair maybe comes down and touches your eyebrows. If you have bangs, I know some of mine does. So when I start my hair, I'm gonna start a pencil line right about here. And then I have a big part, I'm looking in the mirror, that comes down to here. And then I have some wavy hair. So I'm gonna do some wavy lines. And see how some of it covers up that bald part of my head? That's what I'm looking for. Now I only have a half bald side. So this side is gonna be a little bit less hair because I have my part. So I'm gonna have some that goes here. Still gonna do those wavy lines and maybe one right here. And there's my basic hair. Now, if you wanna have more hair, you can draw more hair. One thing I didn't do is I didn't color in with my pencil because we're gonna be using our crayons really soon, and that's what you're gonna be coloring in with. Now, my well-behaved classes, you get to go on to the next step, which is going to be Sharpie, and we're gonna talk about tracing. But for some of you guys who have glasses like your art teacher, Miss Hopkins, you're gonna wanna draw your glasses in now. Okay, so you get your glasses drawn in, and you're gonna be looking super awesome. Now, this is the next step that well-behaved classes are gonna get to use. This is called a Sharpie, and this is just gonna make all of those lines that we just drew really stand out. Now, it's important that this, you understand, is just for tracing. We are not coloring with this marker. This is a kindergarten art supply, and we take it very seriously. I put my cap right on the end of my Sharpie so I don't lose it. Because if this marker gets on your skin, it's gonna make a mess. And if you're being naughty, your teacher is not gonna let you use one. So with your Sharpie, you're going to trace your pencil lines. Just like that. It's really good practice tracing because you do that in your classroom. Maybe you're tracing letters. It's very important to stay on the line. It's like a car driving on the road. You don't want to go off the road. Every pencil line is going to get traced. And you kind of have to look where you're going before you get there. Otherwise, it could be sloppy. Take your time. Every line was important. That's why we drew them all. So don't forget one. It's It's a really good practice for you guys when you're tracing. Helps build up your arm muscles and all your little muscles in your hand. If your hand gets tired, just give it a break. Crack your knuckles a little bit, maybe shake it out, and then you can keep going. Stay on those lines the best you can. If you go off a little bit, that's okay. Don't forget under my chin, my lips, shoulders, shirt, shoulder. Then I just do a double check and once over and make sure that this is ready for crayon, and it looks like it is. And before I start coloring, I'm gonna make sure that my name goes down in the corner right here. And your teacher will probably tell you to write also something on the back that lets you know what class is in. Usually we do a K for kindergarten and then a little dash. And then maybe if you're like in Miss Black's class, it would be the letter B. You know, if you are in a different class, it's gonna be a different letter. And we circle that. And that tells your teacher which pile of papers that comes from. So K for kindergarten, a dash, and then the letter for your teacher's name. And then my name is right here very nicely so that my teacher can read it. Now at this point, it's time to start coloring. And so you need to look back in your mirrors. Woo! And find out what kind of colors you're gonna need for your face today. What color is your hair? What color are your eyes? What color is your shirt today? What color is your lips? You need to find out those colors, because if I see anybody grabbing any purple for their face, that's gonna be a problem. When I come back to school and you don't have a purple face, I'm not gonna know who you are. So some of you are gonna wanna pick colors like peach or brown or tan for your skin. And you're gonna color the whole thing. My eyes are brown, so I know I'm gonna be using that today. And we all talked about how we have that little black dot in the middle of our eye. Maybe I'll just start there, because everybody's gonna have this the same color. Maybe I'll just start with my eye next, and I'll do the brown part of my eye. But then I'm gonna stop because there's a little white part, and everybody has that little white part. Now when I look in the mirror, I would say my lips kind of look pink, so I'm gonna start with my pink lips. And this is where you're gonna show us how awesome you are at staying in the lines and filling all the space in with color. Your whole part of your portrait needs to be colored in with crayon. And when you finish, it might look something like this. Now this one is completely colored in, and the only white space you see is in the eyes, right? Even the background has color, and that's because we got to paint it. So if you're well behaved, maybe you get to paint your background. Otherwise, we can leave it plain, or we can use crayon for it. There's lots of choices. One other thing that I added is maybe you have some freckles. Well, I grabbed my brown and I put some freckles on top of my skin after I colored it. So that is my self-portrait. Do your very best. The only thing that should be white is the whites of your eyes. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.